Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new chapter of our Luma Fireside Chats. This is, of course, offered to you by Luma, the guide to grow your business through the voice of your customers. So today, we're going to talk about customer experience in banking, and I'm really excited to have an expert in the field, in many other fields also, but also in banking. His name is Gregorio. And maybe the best thing, Gregorio, is if you introduce yourself and you tell us a little more about you.
Sure. Carlos, first of all, thank you very much for this great opportunity to discuss with you and together with the audience about this really interesting topic about personalization in banking with AI. I am Greg, known as the CX goalkeeper. I have a big passion for customer experience, and I am delighted to have this opportunity to do that in business, but to do that also as my hobby. And I'm now working in a hospital responsible for the digital transformation. I worked 15 years in banking in different roles, and I'm still up to date in this topic because together with my podcast and together with my guest on my podcast, for example, Suvi was also on my podcast from Lumoa, I can keep up in this important game, in this important discussion. I'm a keynote speaker, and the most important thing, I'm a father.
Good. Yeah, that's all what takes most of our time in many cases, at least the free one, every time that we may have. Great, Gregory, we're really excited to have you here. How can banks effectively integrate artificial intelligence in a kind of human-centered customer service model? And it would be great also if you can share some models or strategies that you have seen working successfully in the banking sector.
Sure. The big question is where I should start, because the topic is so broad and we could discuss hour only about this discussion. But in order to bring a bit more strategic view on this topic, I think that artificial intelligence is a technology, and the technology is the mean to create the experiences that we want to deliver to our customers. And artificial intelligence is clear. It should be part of every bank's strategy. What can we do? What should we do with AI? And for me, speaking about strategy, we should use that to achieve an objective. We can say to make the customer happy, to create more acquisition, to ensure customer retention. It depends from company to company. But what I'm really seeing with a lot of companies in banking, in insurances, but also in other industries, the CEO listen to this generative AI, new model, this one and that one. We should start a project now. Start a project with AI because it's cool to say that and to have that in my pipeline. And for me, it's extremely important as a C-level, but also as a project manager and customer experience expert to understand why should we apply that? What's the goal to achieve? And then we can select the best possible technology to do that, to solve the issue. It can be AI, but it can be something different, and it must not be always AI. And for me, if you're speaking about a model, at the end, to really simplify what we are discussing, it's always about an interaction with the customer. And I think it's always important to ask ourselves, is the interaction that I have with the customer creating value or is irritating for the customer? And the same thing we can look from a company point of view. Is the interaction that I am starting with the customer irritating for the customer or creating value? And this is the extremely simple model created by Bill Price, the first VP of customer service of Amazon, this value irritant matrix that we can also leverage in AI and apply in our business, in our journeys, and in our interactions.
I think it's also important to realize that it can be both adding value and irritating. So you may need to go through some steps that are irritating, but at the end you may get value, but you can still improve the experience. Okay, really, really good. So it is not a secret that AI can do a lot of kind of magic and wonders to efficiency, personalization, especially with the recent developments, but also raises questions around privacy, around trust, and we all want to be and feel secure. So about how our data is used. So How do you think, Gregor, how would you say that institutions or companies can ensure transparency in their use of AI? And how do we keep that digital experience feeling safe or trustworthy? Because there's a lot of, even kind of scams going on now. And you will hear a lot of horror stories about using AI being used for faking or scamming people.
Carlos, you are touching an extremely important topic. And perhaps I feel a bit uncomfortable as a Swiss guy to speak about transparency and so on. But now we are going in the right directions. And therefore, also in our banking system, we have much more transparency than 20, 30, 40 years ago. And I think for me, and I don't want to oversimplify the discussion. For me, AI will work only if we use data. And leveraging this data and gathering all this data from the customer, I think it's extremely important to make for the customer understandable for which purposes we are using this data. Basically, there are also some laws and some regulation sharing and asking institution to share the purposes of gathering all this data and feeding them into an AI machine or in another machine. And for me, what is extremely important is also there to have a strategy behind that. Okay, I am getting all the data about Carlos because he's a customer, but I should do something with that. Gathering the data and putting them somewhere and storing them and say, perhaps in future, I could leverage them. It doesn't make sense nowadays. Now we should really ensure that the data that we are asking you, Carlos, that we leverage them and we explain to you how to use them. And I think in every relationship, so I'm super sorry, but also there, customer experience, the basics, the foundation of customer experience is having trust, creating a good relationship. And if I'm not transparent with you, telling what I'm doing with your data, even worse, if I would resell your data and so on, and we listen and we got some news that some companies were doing that, the foundation of a good relationship, a genuine relationship that will last long time, is transparency. Sharing all this data and ensuring that it's working properly. And also there, I think one thing, I was reading an article also in preparation for this discussion. We are all keen to speak about AI solution and so on. But what is the understanding of the customer, of the society outside about AI and what happens and what it's coming to us, because we are also customers? I found out that then 10% of the population use ChatGPT. All 90% don't know about ChatGPT, or as an idea, this is a strange tool creating magics and so on. And therefore, I think we have also the task in business to educate, to share, and to make understandable what we are doing, what's in and what's out. And somebody, in this case, the institution, need to take the responsibility for how they are using these AI tools. I was implementing an AI tool a few years ago, and it was related to taking some decision in a credit card company. And the first question that our compliance department was asking is, who is taking the responsibility for the decision taken by this AI? And that's the institution. We are, as a business, as a company, responsible for that. Yeah. We cannot say they are.
Yeah, there could be a lot of risk if there's something goes wrong. And we can see, even with cars, we can see there's some challenges that
exactly
these self-driving cars have when they become too intelligent. But okay, really good, I think. Then we touched also a little bit about on the topic of customization and personalization.
Yes.
And AI is something that can certainly help with that, and is being used for that very heavily. And especially in banking, we have a very kind of broad set of generations from people, I think it's called the silent generation, that have basically seen the digital from zero digital to kind of console digital to Gen Z. So how do you think we could use these artificial intelligence tools to cater for the needs and preferences of each of these groups?
In this case, I would like to do one step back. Because if I think about this generation, I can use my father-in-law, myself, and my son. These are 3 different generations. And thinking about my father-in-law, he would never change bank. He's with a specific institution, and he will stay for the whole life with this institution, because for him, it's clear, this is the bank and we should go with this bank. I am a bit more flexible. I have a bank account with one institution, a bank account with another institution, but these are financial institutions. I am quite sure that in future, my son will have perhaps a bank account with a tech giant. That's perhaps in Switzerland not yet possible, but in future it will be possible. And therefore, I think that AI can be used and can be leveraged to ensure that I don't like to speak about generations. Even if I did the example, I would like to speak more about personas with different values, with different ambition, with different dreams. AI can help and support a bank to identify customer churns, ensure acquisition, and to personalize the experiences for these different personas. In future, there will be no product that will fit for everybody, but these products, in particular in banking, will be extremely personalized, thinking about the values that have the new generations compared to the old generation, related to sustainability, understanding the background of the company, what are the values of the company, and so on. And I think AI can do a lot in helping creating all these personalized products, personalized experiences, personalized communication. And this is something that I am already seeing with several banks I have relationship with, that they are trying and investing a lot to tailor the messages to make them understandable for me. And I think this is key. Perhaps please let me do one additional example on AI and how to leverage that. And I think it's also related to what you are saying. I worked long time in a credit card company, and I'm not sure what would happen if we wouldn't have this artificial intelligence solution in place for fraud detection. Let's make the example, Carlos, a successful CIO, traveling around the world, doing pitching and selling the products. You're traveling a lot. The AI can learn your patterns that you are traveling, and perhaps today you're paying in Finland, tomorrow you will pay in London, and in 3 days you are in Zurich because we will have lunch together. And this AI is the only solution that can learn and understand these patterns, that it's possible that you are traveling a lot. And these fraud detection tools are incredible nowadays, what they can recognize and how much they can ensure that we keep the solution, these payments means, convenient for the customer, that they can use them whenever they want, wherever they want, with the medium they want.
Yeah, I think it's a very good example, because I actually suffered that. So somebody kind of started buying tobacco from the US with my credit card, and they detected it immediately. Exactly. So that was really, really good. So great. I'm thinking also of personalization and different kind of ages. So it's related to a generation somehow. Do you think? How do you think that we can make sure that there's definitely, I don't know if it's about age. It may not be age the main driver, but there's definitely a technology kind of knowledge, or how comfortable you are with technology.
Sure.
How can we ensure that everybody, regardless of age or technology knowledge, kind of feels included and valued?
I think this is extremely important. And also this solution can help us making it understandable for every different personas or segment or group of people. And we are always speaking a lot about communities. Perhaps you said generations, and I would say my father-in-law is 78 and is more digital savvy than my wife. I'm not speaking about men and women. It's only the real example in my family, and it's exactly the same with other people. And therefore, I think it's important to understand and leverage this AI to recognize the patterns. Who is the people on the other side? Who is the person on the other side? And then find ways to interact with them. And this is also deciding. It's better to have a machine interaction, the customer speaking with the machine, or the customer speaking with the human being. I don't want to open up a completely new topic, but if we speak about generations, in future we will have also virtual assistants. And this is another type of generation, another type of customer that we as banks, we need to understand how to serve in future.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I think the personalization could go to kind of everything from the UI. So I'm thinking now I'm starting to reach an age where I have difficulty kind of reading close. So the UI, knowing my age, it could suggest like, hey, click here, and everything is a little bit bigger, a little bit adaptive for people my age, even though it hurts to say this. But I think it could be very
sure.
Personality can come from every kind of every way.
But I know we are not speaking about banks, but Netflix shows a different screen to everybody. There is nowadays it's so personalized that the display that you're seeing in Netflix is different for everybody. And I think some point in time there will be a standardization or personalization, from Netflix, from these tools, and you can also adjust and improve that at the end you have this tool, because AI can also track where are you looking, where are you clicking, and so on, and then they can continuously improve the products. I think that's incredible, having a continuous improvement ongoing done by AI, suggesting you should do this and you should do that. At the end, I think it's still the human being that need to take the decisions.
I think it's a good point. Very good point. I'm thinking now about, like, if we think of a use case where there's a customer that, it can be very easy for me to use the mobile app. Everything is working very well. I can do what I want all digitally, which I actually would love. But then, for example, I want to subscribe to a specific account or something like that. Then you get this kind of long terms and conditions and things like that are that in some cases you would need or want to have some kind of expert advice and ask questions maybe directly. How do you think that AI can be integrated, or what does the future kind of hold for customer service in banking with AI integration? So how can these experiences be blended between artificial intelligence, human? So is it a combination? Is it one? Is it the other? Because now what we see is a trend of reducing cost. So it looks like it's eliminating all possible human touch, even hiding phone numbers very deep in websites. So it's very difficult to find, and moving everywhere to kind of self-service, which is very efficient. Maybe it's not the right thing to do.
I think it depends. There is no standard answer. Every company tries to differentiate itself and wants to offer specific service. I think every bank has a strategy, and then they are thinking about how do we want to service our customer. And we are CX experts, and we speak a lot about CS. And companies need to define how do we want that the customer feels interacting with us. And therefore, I don't have the solution for everybody. I genuinely believe that it will take still a lot of time that a machine can completely substitute human beings. In particular for cases where empathy is needed. And we have all these cases that are popping up in the press. Somebody died, the guy or the lady calling the customer center and say, we need to speak with him. No, the guy is not here anymore. Yes, we need to speak with him because you cannot access and so on. And I think this is something where we will use and leverage human beings. Yeah. We need, and thinking back to the value return matrix, which are the interactions that create values, which are the interactions that are irritating. There we can leverage technology, AI, to reduce to the minimum the interactions that don't need a human-to-human connection. But please let us not forget that it's one of the last interactions that we can have with our customers through the contact center, through the customer service. If we lose also these interactions, then it's fully digital, and sometimes it's good, but in other cases, it's the competition is then really one click away. And let's think about Zappos or all this private bank that are still have the relationship manager, that they are having long-lasting relationship with different generations. We spoke about the generations with the father, with you, with your son, and so on. And you want to cultivate this relationship. They know if you're coming in, they want black espresso. Then you like I don't know, a chocolate, and you like this. And if you are going out for lunch or for dinner, you like sushi. Let's go to the sushi. And it's clear a machine can do that and can keep them. But this personal connection, it's extremely important, and I think in future will be even more important. We know and we see in the statistics that customers are still willing to have interactions. There is one report that was published a few months ago. It's the loneliness report in the USA, and people are feeling lonely. And there are customers that want to interact with the person. They're alone at home. Mm. They're always in front of their screen, and at some point in time, they want to have an interactions. And if the bank, the company can leverage this interaction for the benefits of the business and for the benefits of the customer, why not still having human interactions?
Yeah, I think it's as you say, it depends on the bank. So some banks, I'm assuming, like this kind of neobanks, they are built around being digitally first, and they offer some value. But of course, then you have, I'm thinking kind of private banking. So in there, when you're a very wealthy individual, I think you cannot get around having a person physically. So
and the costs to change are extremely different from a fully digital bank compared to a relationship bank or a private bank that you have a personal connection. I have several accounts because I like to test them from this neobank, and it's great, it's good. But I am not sure that I'm the best customer for them because I'm testing that. I still have their card. I have a few dollars on my account, and I have no connection. For them, their costs are extremely low, but I am not the customer lifetime value of Greg for this neobank. I'm not sure that it will be positive.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I'm thinking that, as in many cases, everything, when we're thinking about AI, banking, customer support, how do you blend all those things together? It all comes down to leadership and change. So I'm thinking that you have been seeing these digital transformations from the front lines. So how do you see this role of the role of leadership evolving with the integration of AI in this customer experience and strategies?
I think the role of the leadership is extremely important. And when I was thinking about this discussion, I said, there are too many topics that I need to share to answer this question. And I decided to reduce that to few of them. I know some of them are missing, but for me, it's setting a vision. Thinking about the employees that need to participate to these projects, need to then to collaborate together with this artificial intelligence, and understanding that it's important to give them the vision and not saying you need to do this and now you do and you work like that, but that they understand that are on the path together with you on this digital transformation. Having the people on board is key, and then we should empower them. I think you need a lot about artificial intelligence and other news also a lot, and it's important to get all this knowledge, all this idea together to empower the organization and to empower the people to bring ideas, to speak up and to collaborate. Empowerment, collaboration is extremely important. Being empathetic. There are people like us that want to learn more, that discuss, try to upskill and so on, but others are not. And there it's important to be really empathetic with the employees, with the people on the project, and understand their fears, their desires, their dreams, and work together with them. Being fully transparent. You mentioned that the reality is a lot of time, if we're speaking about business transformation or digital transformation, is about cost cutting. I know that should not be the target, but a lot of time it's about cost cutting. And that it's extremely important to be transparent, to share information, to make that understandable for the people, what's happening and what's not happening. safety is key. We know the Maslow pyramid, and safety is one of the most important things. If you're not feeling safe in your job, then you will not deliver a good experience to the customer. And last but not least, it's extremely important, the ethical point. What we are doing, does it make sense? Does it make sense for the business? Does it make sense for the people? Does it make sense for the society? And ethics is a big topic. Everybody needs to decide for himself or for herself if this project, if this transformation makes sense or not.